the internet's been going a little bit berserk. Metro Exodus, upcoming game from 4A Games, coming out on 15th of February. Post-apocalyptic first-person shooter, was supposed to be launching on Steam. Everyone assumed that was the case. And then, kind of out of the blue, they pulled it from Steam and said, we're now only doing it on the Epic launcher.
It's met with very harsh response in some ways, and other people don't give a fig either way. So it's kind of a mixed response, let's say. And Steam themselves have responded to this.
Yeah, they're not terribly happy about it.
First things to note is, like you said, it was listed on Steam beforehand, and now the game will be sold exclusively on the Epic Store, not on Steam. So this came completely out of the blue, and it's like 2 to 3 weeks before sale. It was announced on Monday, and that's like 3 weeks before it's due on sale. I'll go to the Steam reaction first off, because this was a surprise to them more, as much as anybody else, and this is the Steam's response. This is on the official Metro listing page now on the Steam marketplace. It says, notice, sales of Metro Exodus have been discontinued on Steam due to a publisher decision to make the game exclusive to another PC store. Straight away, washing their hands due to someone else's decision.
Yep, it's out of our control. We had nothing to do with it.
The developer and publisher have assured us that all prior sales of the game on Steam will be fulfilled on Steam, and Steam owners will be able to access the game and any future updates or DLC through Steam, which is good. Exactly what they should have done.
Yep.
If you're going to make a decision like this, honor those pre-orders as well as honor any additional content that they want in future DLC add-ons and all that.
They definitely must have known that this would be at least a little bit controversial, but Steam community has been quite vocal about it, and I don't think they expected that.
The last and most telling paragraph here from Steam. We think the decision to remove the game is unfair to Steam customers, especially after a long pre-sold sale period. We apologize to Steam customers that were expecting it to be available for sale through Steam the February 13th release date, but we are only recently informed of the decision and given limited time to let everyone know. My first reaction is anyone who pre-ordered it anyway. I mean, I've got no sympathy for people who pre-order in general, because that's not probably the way you want to go. However, there's a lot of information out there about the game. We've played the game. I would pre-order it maybe if I wasn't expecting to get a free code, let's put it that way. People getting upset because they pre-ordered.
If your pre-order is unaffected, you don't
still
really
get the game.
Yeah, you don't really have much of a reason to be upset other than perhaps empathizing for those other people.
That's moot then. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So that's moot, right? So anyone who pre-ordered it is not affected. Nobody of that group of people cares, okay? The only people who care who are the people between when it was announced and when it's released who either wanted to pre-order it in that period or wanted to play it on Steam after launch, okay? Those are the people that are affected.
I definitely think part of the problem with it is how late in the game this is, and people saying that they feel misled and all that. From
Who feels misled?
This is what I don't understand. People are saying that
because everyone who pre-ordered it, we've just established that those people are unaffected.
Yeah.
So they can't feel misled.
That's what I mean. But people who were expecting to buy it on Steam outright, they're very upset. The rug's been pulled out on them, essentially. That's it. Yeah. That's the vibe I seem to get from them.
And what is telling for me here is that Valve have come out and they're using quite coloured language. We think the decision to remove the game is unfair. There's a judgment there. Like, this is not right. That's what they're saying. Do you think that some of this is them kind of projecting the frustration from losing games like Division 2, as well as Call of Duty Black Ops 4 last year as well? I think some of that's just like pent up, like, oh, this is enough now. Enough is enough. This is unfair.
Yeah, I feel like they must at least be entertaining the idea that Epic are teasing control, so they got to grab onto whatever they still have and hold on tight. But I saw on, I think it was Twitter, one of the Kotaku editors posted a thing about this is a move from Valve to generate toxicity and rile people up to get them to defend them, and I'm like,
well, I know, I kind of see that point.
I understand where they're coming from, but it's another one of those Kotaku ones where they blanket in gamers as toxic, and I don't like any kind of blanketing statements like that. However, I do feel that this statement from Valve is deliberately emotive.
It is, because they stuck it front and center on the page that they were selling Metro Exodus, and they've used the words like it's unfair.
Yeah.
We think that you can't buy this game because it's unfair, as in somebody else is to blame, as in all the negative emotions that you feel right now is somebody else's to blame, and they left that on there. Like, this is a notice that's still on there. They haven't removed the page, they haven't removed the, like they could do, they could just remove the store page and it'd be gone. But no, they've left it on there. You know, obviously there's a reason behind that, right? I do think that what they're doing is they're harnessing this negative feeling, because there does seem to be a lot of negativity towards the Epic Game Store. My quick take on this is the game, it still be available on Xbox, still be available on PS4, still be available on PC, but it will not be available on Steam. It will only be available through the Epic Store. And also you add to that the fact that the price apparently in the US is $10 cheaper than it was on the Steam store. It appears as though they've passed on some of the price savings, and part of the appeal of the Epic Games store, for those who don't know, is that the Epic store only take a cut of 12% as a platform versus Steam's 30%. I'll explain to you in this way, right? So what they're doing, because they're making it $10 cheaper, they're passing on part of that saving, not all of it, that 18% saving to the customer, right? And essentially they're making $2 more per sale, but they're allowing the customers to have
even
cheaper.
with this cheaper thing.
Exactly. So they're passing on the majority of the saving or the extra revenue that they're making per sale, and they're passing some of that on to consumer, which that seems like a no-brainer, right? That's one of the beauties of the Epic Store, is that the developer now has the opportunity to make the games cheaper and still make more money.
Yeah, the publisher Deep Silver's PR spiel about it, they make a point that this is so that we can, reinvest. So all this extra money we get from being with Epic as opposed to Steam, we can then take that and put it into post-launch content and maintaining this game over time and working on future projects and the Metro series and all that.
But that introduces the argument that the lower user base on the Epic Store will lead to reduced sales in the first place, so you won't make more money in the long run anyway. That's the counter argument to that one, which is you're selling less units on the Epic Store because there's not as many people using the Epic Store versus Steam, so you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, which is a valid point. The Epic Store is still in its infancy. It's still growing in popularity and
quite quickly.
It's still drawing people in with these free games and these exclusive PC launches, which is a good business strategy from Epic's point, but it is riling a lot of PC players up the wrong way, that's for sure. A lot of hardened Steam veterans who just want games on one platform, they are upset.
A lot of people are saying, I don't want to have to download another launcher. Now that in itself, I think, is just ridiculous, because it takes very little effort to download the launcher, and you could say slippery slope because you don't want to have 100 launchers for every other game. However, I do acknowledge that Epic don't have a proper refunds or review system at the moment. I very much think that needs to be sorted on Epic's end.
I think this is one of the main criticisms. This
of
is
the whole
the criticism that holds water the most is that the Epic Store doesn't have as much features as Steam, in a sense that you can't see user reviews, so you can't see what other players are saying about the game. And have they not brought that in yet, that refund policy?
I think they did it, but it's not.
There's loads of red tape, right? There's loads of red tape. You've got to jump through rings and stuff. So those are the criticisms raised, and I think if you're used to Steam as your main platform, you want to get all your games through Steam. It's been a while since you could get all the games on Steam anyway, because you got
Windows Store, Uplay,
Windows Store,
Origin.
All EA games now are off Steam Store and have been for a while. This just introduces another store to go and get your games at, and I think in the long run, hopefully, if Epic can gain enough install base that they can shake Steam and say, hang on a minute, 30% is too much, because that's what eventually will happen. But however, there was a good point that Buggy988 made on one of his videos, saying how, talking about exclusives specifically, right? And exclusives in the industry are good in one way, very specific types of exclusives, kind of like what we discussed last week in the podcast, where exclusives where you've paid for something to get generated.
You made it and you have the console to do it, of course,
like
put it on
PlayStation game exclusives like God of War and Spider-Man. All those games wouldn't be made unless they were exclusive. That's part of the deal of them getting made. That's part of the contract. That's why you're investing less money in. However, exclusives where a publisher's just come in and thrown money at something that weren't made specifically are a bit shady, because what it does, it limits people's options in that way. So it feels like a dirtier way of getting an exclusive and getting people over to your platform, which again is another very legitimate concern about what Epic have done here.
The phrase anti-consumer has been thrown around a lot in this debate, and it's both true and untrue, because going to Epic with a $10 discount in the US, that couldn't be less anti-consumer. That's pro-consumer massively.
Good,
However, the anti-consumer thing is that it is a bit shady to buy exclusivity like that and to not be able to have the review system or anything like that.
It's kind of like what I was saying last week, when games go like certain content is exclusive for a certain period on one platform. Like you might get an Xbox exclusive level or skin or
normally with a Call of Duty, there's like you get this map pack first on something.
On PS4 or something. And that's exactly it. That's the exclusivity because they've bought it, and that's the bad type of exclusivity in my eyes. And I think that this muddies the whole water, because it's partially good for the consumer, but again, in other ways, it's not good for the consumer.
One thing I completely don't agree with, and it happens all the time, and it just annoys me more than anything, is review bombing. I hate review bombing as a thing, because it's, in my opinion, it's a complete abuse of that critical platform, and it isn't helpful to other consumers who want to see the reviews and understand what it's like. But I do understand that it is your means to have a voice and show the people behind it that you care. However, why are the first two Metro games, which are very highly regarded, why do those excellent games deserve to get heavily review bombed because of some controversy with the next one?
I mean, I don't mind review bombing in any shape or form, because it's just the market reacting to what the corporations are doing. That's all that's happened with the review bomb. But I think the onus is always on the consumer to do your research when you're investigating whether you want to buy a game or not. You have to check what the review scores mean. It's not enough to look at a score anymore. No. And I think that is the responsibility of the consumer to have a look at it. All right, it's been review bombed. Or is it review bombed for a reason that connects with me, the reason that matters? If not, then I'm going to ignore that and do it anyway.
That's what I mean. Because I think review bombing can be done with the best intentions. I don't agree with X, Y, Z. Here's my claim. And I think that's good. Voice your concerns, because there's a lot of bullshit that goes on in this industry. But something like this, which is nothing to do with those first two games, it completely soils them. And I think there's so many ways you can do it. Complain on Twitter or whatever. It's not as focused, but if everyone does it there and retweeting and sharing and all this social networking, which is what that platform is good for, I think you can do your venting there and keep the review platform for reviews.
Yeah, I mean, I can see your point, but I don't mind it. It's not like I like it. I just don't mind it, because I don't see the harm in it if you're going into it and you're assessing these reviews as an informed, critical thinking consumer, and you can wade through all the negativity and just discard all the criticism that you don't feel that is valid to you, and just find the nuggets of information, which is what anyone should do who's looking at reviews of a game. Like, look for the information that's most meaningful for you to judge whether this game is going to be worth your money or not, because the review bombs just might mean fuck all to you. So the latest on this is that THQ Nordic have since on the 30th, which was yesterday, released a new update, and Lars Wingfors, CEO, co-founder, so you can't get any higher than this, okay, of the whole like hierarchy of the structures of these businesses involved. This is the guy at the very top who has to answer to the shareholders and all that about this decision. And this is what he said. And I don't know at what level the decision was made, whether it was Koch Media or Deep Silver. It definitely wasn't done by 4A because they're just the developers, right? And that's one point to make. That
these things are very rarely the developers' fault.
The developers are having to with the fallout of, you know,
they're there to make a game and create their art form.
And I don't think the game will be affected. The quality of the game will not be affected by any of this. So if you're just interested in game, you're not interested in politics, and you don't mind whatever platform you play it on, if you're playing on console even, all of this is just bullshit anyway.
This is part of my opinions on it, because I think if you do have your very, very strong opinions against Epic and pro Steam, great. However, I don't feel strongly either way, but I'd rather just enjoy the game. I'm not going to let something like that ruin my enjoyment of a game, because a lot of people call for boycotts anytime this kind of stuff happens. I've seen dozens of YouTube comments like, well, you've lost my sale or something like that. And I'm like, well, that's fine, but all that's happening there is you're missing out.
No, what I feel is happening there is that people have already made the decision, and it's just like a solitary thing where they've decided, well, I'm not buying the game on anywhere else but Steam because I like Steam, and then they're using all these justifications for why it's a bad thing, like exclusivity is a bad thing when you buy it, as well as there's not enough features on Epic Store, and that's just justification for the decision you've already made. It's not like critically analysing the situation, then making an informed decision. It's you've already got your biases and your preferences, and then you're using all the information that you can get to justify that. And I feel like it's them people who are always, you know, there are Steam fanboys out there, and they will ardently defend Steam and always go to bat for Steam for whatever reason, because like corporate shillism, it's just the worst thing in the world. Like, you should not be.
And there's so many faces of it these days. People call it out when they're just the same.
Lars Wingfors, co-founder and group CEO of THQ Nordic, commented, "I fully support our subgroups' autonomy to run their respective businesses. I believe it's in the group's and ultimately the consumer's best interest that business decisions are made close to the market, and this is the group's consistent business model." So he's there justifying whoever's made the decision there, we stand by it because they're better suited to make these decisions because they're closer, they've got their finger on the pulse. "I firmly believe that Deep Silver and Koch Media have carefully considered the advantages and disadvantages, opportunities and risks in the decision to go solely with Epic Games Store. The decision has my full support." It is important to say that Deep Silver have released a press release to to somebody after this saying that it will come to Steam a year later. So it will come to Steam, but it'll just be a year later.
That's a long time as well, to be honest. That's kind of part of it. That's a hell of a delay. But the thing is, all of this exclusivity will have come from Epic's negotiation and them bringing that to the table. Deep Silver wouldn't have come to the table and been like, we'll offer you this exclusivity. I imagine Epic have said, if you come to us, we'll do this, this, and this for you, but you have to be exclusive to us. I think it's a move pushed from Epic.
We'll see how it pans out. And the bottom line is that this is releasing multi-platform, and this is only a portion of the total sales that they'll make anyway. It'll be effective for the people who are going to boycott it for whatever reasons. They stand by the reasons. It is only a small portion of the overall sales that they'll be making anyway. Xbox and PS4 sales won't be affected by that. We wouldn't have thought. That is it. That's our thoughts and musings on the whole situation. But there's just so much to it, and we thought we'd give ourselves the opportunity to talk through a lot of things. A
lot of bullshit.
So that was that. And
what's up next? This has been an extract from our Pretty Good Gaming weekly podcast. Be sure to head on over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming to hear the full version. Give us a like, leave a comment down below, let us know what you think. Bye for now.